We have a undergraduate program, but then we have two graduate programs. One is in the learning sciences. In fact, it's the original first ever learning sciences program. And the second is in human development and social policy. That too is the first of its type, now 30 plus years old. And the learning sciences program is built around three core pillars: cognition, understanding how people think, how people learn; design, because fundamental to improving cognition, improving learning, is knowing how to design environments, technology, curricula that enables learning; and social context, because we recognize that how we think is not something that just simply goes on inside the head, but it's fundamentally enabled and constrained by the situations, the day-to-day situations in which we find ourselves. And the Human Development and Social Policy program brings together not only the study of policy, but also the study of development, and looks at the intersection of the two. Both programs are multidisciplinary. They bring together scholars in human development and social policy. We have economists, we have psychologists, we have sociologists, we have a statistician, and we bring together these disciplines, but not just as isolated disciplines, but we really try and work at understanding key issues of human development and social policy from these different perspectives. If you come without a master's, it typically involves an extra year of coursework, so you would end up having 3 years of coursework. If you come with a master's, depending on what you covered in that master's program, we can typically reduce the number of courses you have to take. You know, if you have a master's in education or one of the social sciences, you're more than likely going to have covered some of the material. In human development and social policy, there are courses required in human development. Big courses: theories of human development, child development, adolescent development, and adult development. Then there are courses in policy. There's the economics of social policy. There's a course on education policy. And again, you have to take so many courses out of that group. And then, of course, there are methodological research method courses. And every student is required to take a course on qualitative or field methods. You should ask yourself, what are the best programs? What really motivates me? What am I excited and interested in? Where would be the best place for me to do this? And there are several aspects to that. One is, who are the cutting edge people in the field? Who are people that are doing interesting work in the area of mathematics education, in the area of education policy? You might want to ask yourself, so I really want to understand how education policy can be designed better so that it really impacts what happens in schools. And you could say, oh, Northwestern, that's very interesting. Look, they have Kirabo Jackson, his work on teacher peers. They have David Figlio. Then they have people like Bart Hirsch and Jim Rosenbaum doing. So that collective would be really exciting for me. I could learn from these different group of people. So that's really key, I think. But we prefer students who have had a couple of years out from undergrad, although some of our students come directly from undergrad. But we like people with having some experience. But it depends on the length of that experience, I guess. If you're, a couple of years out of undergrad, you more than likely know what college life is like. Whereas if you've been out for a while, that can be quite a shock. And it can be a shock in many respects. You're giving up income. I think one of the biggest challenges people who come straight from undergrad or who are relatively recent graduates is that it's a very different way of learning. The expectations are much different than an undergraduate education. It's not just remembering details, it's developing this critical mindset toward the literature, asking thoughtful, provocative questions of the literature that you read. And that can be a difficult transition. I mean, one of the biggest challenges, of course, when you start out is that graduate record exam and making sure you do well on the GREs. So some preparation around that. I think in our application process, letters of recommendation are critical. And the other thing is that statement about why I'm pursuing a graduate education and why I'm pursuing a graduate education, why I would like to pursue a graduate education at your university. That's really important because it's one of the best ways we can gauge fit. We've had some very exciting hires over the last few years. We have in human development and social policy, we now have 4 economists. We've also hired over the last 5 or 6 years, we've now 2 sociologists in addition to one of our senior sociologists. So that is exciting. This wonderful mix of qualitative, cutting edge qualitative researchers. And the exciting thing is that they interact with one another, unlike some places where there's no respect from qualitative folks for quantitative folks or vice versa. We have the direct opposite of that. In the learning sciences, we have had also several new exciting hires over the last 5 or 6 years. 2 giant hires with computer science, folks who do work around design, who build things. So there's a lot of new blood on the faculty, which I think is always exciting. There's the synergy among both within the 2 programs among faculty, but also across the programs that I think makes it a really exciting place to come and learn how to be a researcher.